In this video, I'm going to give you the 3 things that you can apply to your own sales game when you're cold calling that will help you close more deals. It doesn't matter if you've never cold called before, or you're cold calling today, or you want to get a job in sales, or you've just started your business. Anybody can apply these lessons and they'll help you, like I said, have more success cold calling. The first one you have to understand is the second that prospect picks up, they're in a fight or flight mode. What that means is we need to bring the guard down. We need to make the prospect not flight or fight, give us an objection or just cut off the call. So how do we do that? We have a permission-based opener. So 5 years ago, if you told me that you have to ask the prospect if you can pitch, I would have thought you were absolutely crazy. But this is the way the market's gone now. So here's actually what I say. I say, hey John, we actually haven't spoken before. Could I just ask for 30 seconds of your time? Another one which I know works well in the industry. Hey John, this is a sales call, but it's a well-researched one. Could I ask for 28.4 seconds to explain? So in both of these scenarios, what have we done? Number one, we've lowered the guard down of the prospect. And now they feel in control because they're basically telling you, yeah, sure. The second thing is we've been completely honest up front. What that does is it brings the guard down of the prospect because you've been honest. And the third one is when the prospect allows you to speak, it brings down your own anxiety. You can relax a little bit because they're actually letting you talk and it's just easier. It's a better flow. Instead of asking for permission, you just call them up and you say, hey John, this is James from marketing company X, Y, and Z. What we actually do is we help companies rank higher on Google, which allows them to actually get more leads and eventually more sales through the door. Would that be worth 30 seconds of your time? We have been conditioned to say no to salespeople. I even notice it in myself. I'll go to a shop and someone will ask me, in the shop, do you need help? No, I'm okay, thanks, I'm just looking. It's so natural, this reflex, because we know it's just natural, like, no, I'm okay. Even though I've gone to the shop to buy shoes and I do need help to buy shoes, even when someone offers me help, I'm like, no, I'm okay. It's this natural reflex to salespeople. So when you call up and you sound like a salesperson, the natural, unconscious reaction from your prospect is, I'm not interested. Even though they probably could do with more leads and they probably could do with more sales. So if you have a permission-based opener, not everyone will say yes, but some will. And the ones that will say yes are the ones who are more likely to engage in a conversation. So guys, this is the second one and it's a big one. You have to have a mini discovery on the sales call. So sometimes people will book meetings from cold calls and they're super happy, they're going to the manager, they're going, they're spending all week like, yes, I've got a meeting coming up, can't wait for the meeting. And it comes around to the day and they don't show up. No show. Why does that happen? I'll tell you why that happens. When you call that prospect, they give you permission to pitch, you give you a pitch, and they say, yeah, I actually am facing that problem. Guess what the sales rep says? Cool, well, we actually can solve that for you. Should we put some time on the calendar? I'll tell you 2 reasons why that doesn't work. The first one is, you need to understand this concept. When a prospect talks, they talk in desire or they talk in interest. Admitting that they have a problem is a prospect speaking in language of interest, not desire. If you try and sell a prospect too early when they're interested and they haven't got desire, they won't buy. So the second reason is sometimes the prospect will just say yes to get you off the phone. So for them to just say, yeah, sure, let's meet, you haven't created enough desire for them to turn up. So compare that now. When the prospect admits they've got a problem, what you need to do is you need to have a mini discovery. So like I say, always we want a discovery mindset in sales. So we have the problem, we found the problem. What a lot of people do is they pitch at the problem. Don't do that. What we need to do is to continue digging down into the pain through our questions. So they admit they have a problem that we've said we can solve. What do we say then? Can you give me an example of that, please, Mr. Prospect? How long have you been dealing with that? What sort of effects is that having on the business or in your life? Sure. And what have you already tried to solve it? And in the most respectful way possible, Mr. Prospect, like, why haven't you tried to solve this before? You're showing that you're there and you care to solve the problem. The second one is you are creating a problem which they have and you're bringing that problem into a reality for the prospect. When they give you an example, how long they've been dealing with it, why they haven't dealt with it before, what they've tried in the past, that problem which they weren't thinking about is now a problem they're thinking about, and they're thinking, I need to solve this. So you create a larger desire to solve that problem. So when the prospect admits that they have a problem in any sort of sales situation, do not go in for the kill. You've got to dig deeper. And when the time is right and you ask for the meeting, they're more likely to say yes. So the third one and the final one, super important. It's how you ask for the meeting. If you ask like a salesperson, you're going to bring their guards up, you're going to get sales resistance, and you're going to get objections to the meeting. The goal, which is different from an intention, the goal of the cold call is to get a meeting booked that they show up to. This is what most people say. Most people say, well, John, I can definitely solve your problems. Why don't we have a sit-down meeting where I'll show you how much it costs, what we would do to solve it, how long it would take, and how we would get started together. Does that sound good? The problem with that sounds like they're agreeing to buy and they're agreeing to be sold to. Remember, we hate to be sold to, but we love to buy. So when you ask for the meeting, you can't, like I said, you can't ask in a way where if they feel like they're going to say yes, they're saying yes to be sold to for an hour. Who wants to take an hour out of their day to be sold to? And you don't want it to feel like if they say yes, they're saying yes to buying. I know that sounds weird. It's just a concept that I have. Every ask in sales is a mini yes working towards the big yes, which is to buy our product and our service. Remember, we've just cold called them. The only thing we want to do is have a sit-down meeting with them and have a further discovery and continue the conversation. That's it. So how do we actually do that? What we do is we say, John, would it be a bad idea for us to have a sit down? I'll have a look over the process and I'll just give you my honest opinion. That's a lot less of an ask, and they're more likely to say yes because they're just saying yes for your opinion and to have a look over the process, compared to you saying, I'll tell you how much it's going to cost, how we'd get started together, and what it would look like to work together. Completely different scenarios, but at the end of the day, we're both doing the same thing. The outcome is the same, just to get a meeting with them. So that's what I found after 10 years on the phones. The world has just gone into volume. We've lost all intent and care for our outreach and in sales, which is good for us. If we're intentional with our outbound, if we know who we want to target, if we know what we want to say, if we're there to solve the problem, we will stand out in an industry. So remember, those are the 3 things that up your sales game in cold calling. Permission-based opener. You have to have a mini discovery on the call, otherwise they're not going to show up to the call. And you have to have a soft ask. Otherwise, they're going to give you an objection. Those are the 3 things that you need to bring into your sales game. So remember, cold calling isn't dead. It's just rare to be good at it. So if you get rare, you'll be able to make more sales.